Hi, Luminaires. I hope everybody is having a beautiful day today. My name is Jamie Butler, and I am a medium. I have been doing this work for over 30 years, and I have authored books, taught globally, lectured. My passion is teaching and bringing difficult topics to people's, I guess, laps out of the peripheral vision, bring it forward, especially if it's related to psychic abilities, spiritual awareness, intuitiveness, and hi, everybody. and For those of you who find yourselves being in that field, a highly sensitive person, meaning that you use your traditional five senses in a heightened awareness way, such as maybe lights bother you, loud sounds bother you, textures. You're overly sensitized to textures, to colors, to your emotions, to other people's emotions, to temperatures, to um, people, too many people in the room. I mean, we kind of look at this and say, well, if you can't manage these things, then you're just not in the norm. I would challenge what is the norm. But we have a society that looks at people that have difficulties behaving in a fashion that is acceptable to the masses as different, bad, unique, and often the masses then turn and kind of train them to say, hey, try it this way, tough it out. You can do it. You can persevere, just try it. You're being too sensitive. How statements before is that if you cry, you're showing a weakness rather than a strength. And vulnerability is just that, it's raw and it's a weakness and it's not a strength. So, yes, we can go in the rabbit hole of highly sensitive, intuitive, psychic people, but I really want to look at these mental health check ins that are, in my opinion, fully required and mandatory if you are an intuitive. An intuitive includes if you are getting gut instincts, or you just know stuff and you don't know why you know things, but you go into a situation and you say, I knew it was going to play out that way. That's why I adjusted myself moments before, or that's why I showed up or didn't show up, or that's why I changed something because I could sense. Then that means you're a highly sensitive person. You are an intuitive. Um, so we're going to look at how to do mental health check-ins and why they are important. I'm going to talk about 4 different ways that we can do this, or at least know why to tune in to our mental body. So a mental health check-in is specifically relating to our mental body. If we look at our whole selves, we are going to acknowledge that we indeed have 4 bodies. We have our mental body, our emotional body, our physical body, and our spirit body, or soul, or essence, energetic body. So we have these 4 very distinctly, differently functioning bodies that we work with. And when they're all on board and they agree with each other, we have this thing called bliss. We have this flow, this ease. We experience this kind of joy that is not easily destructive or destroyable. We get into these things even if you know you're having hardship with finances or you're having a hard time in a relationship, but all 4 of your bodies are just working together with a certain concept or a situation that you're in, you just feel invincible. And it's like you tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay that you're not feeling, you know, financially rich or you can pay all your bills. It's okay. And that kind of it's okay talk, I feel, is extremely valid for all of us intuitives. When your whole body, mind, emotions, and spirit are saying it to you, hip, hip, hooray, you're in a flow, like working with all the frequencies and energies from, you can call it the earth, you can call it the universe, you can call it God, all that is, whatever term works for you, you're in alignment with it and you know that you're part of it, you're part of a community. These kind of mental healths that we're talking about today, I say we because I'm going to be listening to some teammates here, is more so just strictly on the mental body. Because when you're highly sensitive, and you guys can chime in as you are, put your fingers to the keyboards, let me know you're here. Hi, Antoinette. Hi, Moni. Hi, Dan. Hi, Maura. It's so nice to have you guys. Yes. Amor is saying, I keep wondering if this is all just me being sensitive, or maybe I'm also on the autism spectrum. Any insight? I would love to chat about that. Regina's just listening in today. Hi, Magma. Um, so, when we are highly sensitive, we are really challenging our mental body. And we're doing this not just us, but our society and our community, because we are humans and we are trained to move in herds. We actually have a chemical that releases in our body when you are in mid conversation, let's say with three other people, and the three other people agree that the tree is green, but you know it's blue. We're just saying this out loud. And um, your body will release a chemical and go, maybe that's not a smart idea to disagree with the rest of them because we have a survival instinct. So we're going to release a chemical that's going to create a little bit of like a worry and anxiety, a little bit of like, oh my God, what am I doing? No, 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 it's definitely green. You're right, guys. It's not blue, it's green. And you agree. And in the back of your head, you have this voice going, why are you saying that? Why are you doing that? You know that's not right. And you're like, I know. And you're a very honest person. But if you're not really mindful and staying in a present moment, boy, those chemicals can take over and they're just saving you from being uniquely different from others or having your own truth or authenticity, because in the past that meant danger or even death. So here you are as a highly sensitive person working not only with this chemical, not only with the influence of your community going, that's different from us. Maybe you could alter that so we could consider yourself normal, or we could understand where you're coming from, because when you're behaving differently, it's uncomfortable for us. So you have to use a lot of your mental body energy to maintain. And when that happens, we can sometimes fry it out really, really fast. Then our emotions are just kind of left there because we are not processing them with our mental energy, and they can feel extremely raw, misunderstood, and spread out too far. Hi, Darlene. Hi, Wendy. Jess says hi, happy Friday and new moon. Yay! So, if you have been following along, some of you might know that a few weeks ago I had a friend that her life was taken due to gun violence, unnecessary gun violence in downtown Atlanta. And this was kind of the first time that I've had this experience so close to me. Now, I've worked with others, I've worked with the FBI, I've worked with police, I've worked with forensics, where I'm dealing with gun violence, I'm dealing with what I call the unfathomable, something that I could never imagine myself contributing to. So I have worked with it, but I haven't built the muscle myself to process my experience around it and what that looks like and how to show up for others with it. So I did a live stream, maybe it was a few weeks ago, about staying present in the face of tragedy. How do I stay in my body? And my request at that time was, may you not tell me that you're sorry, which was coming through from my friend who was very well spoken. And don't give me advice. I'm not looking for your advice. I'm looking to share where I am and how I feel. I'm not looking to be guided, and I'm not looking to be told that you're sorry. It would be okay if you wanted to tell me you were sad or upset at the situation, or maybe frustrated, or you didn't know how to respond to me, because it would feel more authentic. When the I'm sorry is happening, I know that you weren't a part of what happened. So I don't know why you're apologizing for it. But if you just shared with me what your emotions were, I could then stay a little bit more present with you. So the last several weeks, I've been managing just kind of those new muscles and taking highs and lows with great stride. And now I'm looking at, when do I myself check in with my own mental health? Because I've noticed some things about myself that maybe in the past I've picked up on from time to time, but these are very different behaviors than I normally, um, have, that I normally give out. Yes, thank you so much, Amor. Thank you, Nancy. Hi, Oreo. how did your speech go at the celebration of your neighbor's life? I was very nervous, but I'm very proud of myself because I said everything that I had wished to, and I collaborated with my neighbors and spoke their words, which I was so honored to be able to do that. It felt so good to stand up for a group and talk. Um, I did tell some jokes and I laughed very hard and I snorted, and I do regret that because then after that I said into the microphone, "Did I just snort?" And then I thought, oh my gosh, Jamie, you might want to hold it together a little bit more. But we all kind of laughed about it, and that was such a nice relief, laughter. So I appreciate it. I kept thanking my heart for beating so hard because I never knew that it could do that so well without breaking. And so I could feel my heart pulsing like in my jaws and in my shoulders, my armpits, my stomach. My whole body had this beat, and I really felt like you could just see that from wherever you were sitting. So I did a lot of present talk. But recognizing that after that moment, I was just like, okay, I don't want to see anybody. Like I don't care to see anybody. And so after that day, I have been isolating. So isolation is one of my points today. Number one, isolation. Where if you are somebody who enjoys other people's company and enjoys conversation and finds new life with being around people, and now you don't want to be around people, this is a sign to do a mental health check in. And a mental health check in could be something that you begin yourself. And if you feel like you can't follow through with it, to check in with somebody who can. This could be a listening ear with a neighbor or friend or family, and it can even lead to going to talk therapy or psychotherapist, somebody who can really help just get you to acknowledge how are you holding your energy and what's processing. Because for somebody who, like myself, fed from being around others to all of a sudden did not want to be around others, that is a huge loss of an energy revenue. I lost this revenue and I'm not interested in gaining it. So I'm operating extremely differently. So I check in with myself. Why is it that I don't want to be around people? And for me, I found out because I can only speak for myself. I'm not speaking in general for anybody else. But if this resonates with you, wonderful. If you're curious about more, just keep asking questions and getting curious with yourself and how you're doing. So I asked myself, why didn't I want to see people or be around them? And it was mostly that I didn't want to hear or witness anything else that I judged as being sad. I didn't feel like I had the capacity of handling anything else that was sad. Emotions are still very surface. My throat is tight. My temperature is going up. It's like my nerves are just a little still raw. But it's good to acknowledge. It's not going to stop me from being who I am, but my God, to have a safe space just to say what it is, incredible. So my fear of hearing somebody else's story or woes, like even my son, who is having a very difficult time with his digestive system. And he has really bad stomach pain and digestive pain, esophageal, and it's real. But we were folding clothes and he came in and he started to tell me that he had a really hard day. Pause. And I just didn't have the arms for it. I couldn't hold it. So I wanted to run. I wanted to just leave or make up an excuse. But that's not how I work. And that doesn't feel good for us who are highly sensitive to like tell a lie to get out of something. It just like, oh my God, energetically, it just swirls and it like tears apart your healthy energy. So I just looked at him and I said, I can't talk with you right now. I don't have the bandwidth. I can't hold your words. And I didn't apologize because it's not something that I need to apologize for. Like, apologizing that I couldn't perform in a certain way to someone's expectations or even my own expectations, right? Really, that's what it is. I'm measuring it against how I think I need to be as a mom when my child is not well. And I couldn't. So I just looked at him and showed him my hands, and I was like, I can't talk. I don't have the bandwidth. I can't hold your words. I can't hold what you want to give me right now. Can we just fold clothes in silence? And he just looked at me and he smiled. He says, we can do that. And we just folded clothes for like 15, 20 minutes. The best. Because he didn't leave me. I didn't want him to leave. I wanted the company. I just didn't want to hear anything else. I couldn't take anything else. Wendy says, what a beautiful gift you shared with your son to demonstrate the healthy response to his needs and honoring your needs. Yeah. Oh, Gregor says, I like the Course in Miracles quote. There is nothing to forgive. Gregor, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And Shay, you're totally right. He understood and he met me where I was. But I commonly don't need to share people where I am because so much energy is running through me. And I always feel like this happy beam of light and I'm freaking addicted to it and I love it. Like I wake up like this, like I'm sleeping. I hear the birds. Before the sun comes up, I hear birds and I go. And I wake up like this. I don't know why. I do love being alive. I like being here. But it's like these moments the last few weeks, I'm not waking up like this. I'm waking up and my stomach is going, what's going to happen today? And I'm like, no, I refuse to get out of bed until I feel my body smile, not a forced one, until I really feel it. And sometimes I got to dig deep, but it is a discipline. I want to come back to the happiness. You have to allow it to come in because it's just so easy to focus on everything else. It's just downfall. So changing your behavior, isolation, wanting to be alone, that's time for you to do a mental check and figure out why, where it comes from. Often just asking the questions, you understand it, and there are things that you can do for yourself that just brings it to the table and you're like, I've got this. And you can still stay energetically sensitive, psychic, open, intuitive, and have all of your other emotions. Like, we are at a point in our, I don't know, call it your evolution. Maybe it's just an understanding where when we're highly sensitive, we don't just need to stay in the tiny bandwidth of happiness, joy, compliance, ease, non-conflict. And we're psychic and open and spiritual. Yay! No, I think there's a lot of fault to that, in my opinion. We're human. We have a bigger bandwidth of emotions, and we have the capability of, even in our anger and our sadness and our disappointment and our depression, our hardships, that we have our intuitive access, our psychic abilities, our communication with God source or with all that is, however you define yours. It's a little bit more difficult to stay present with it in the denser emotions and easier over here. Absolutely. Yes. But it doesn't mean that when we're down here, we can't access them. So me being down here quite frequently, and finding my voice and standing up it's been eye-opening and reminding me about mental health check-ins are very important. Becca says, when you are trying to understand why you feel a certain way, do you ever have times when an answer doesn't arrive? Yes. Nothing comes. And so then I just let it sit there and I come back to it later. It doesn't concern me or worry me when I don't get answers. I tend to lead my intuitive or psychic ability with the joy of being human. And I think the joy of being human is also having mystery, not knowing. And when I'm not being told, I see that as a value. Okay, they're not telling me. I don't need to be spoon fed right now. I need to be present and I need to experience it. I need to see it for myself to know why I'm doing this. And hi, Flora from Australia. It's nice to have you. Another thing that we need to look at is if we are changing our behavior because we have been trained to be tough and to persevere. So we have isolation, and then we have changing who we are so that we look tough and that we look strong to others because maybe that is valued in your culture. That is valued, I would say, in America. You know, when you show so much emotion or sadness, when you're highly sensitive, you guys are walking around like this. The wind could blow against your face and take you into a moment of just pure ecstasy and bliss because the world is so good to you. And the person standing next to you will go, "You're effing losing your mind." In my opinion, you're not so. um, that has happened. So we will just let that stay on the table. But um, when you are not willing to acknowledge yourself and your own sensitivities to match or to fit in, that is something to be aware of. And I would do a mental health check in. Why are you altering this? What needs are being met? What needs are not being met? And if it's where you are not prioritizing yourself, please get to someone who can help you understand how to get back to prioritizing yourself and your needs. Just visiting says, I wonder about my connection when I don't get an answer. I've had the exact experience with the wind. Ah, see? There's two other things I want to talk about that are little clues for us high people to kind of tap into. When you're in a date, when you have this alpha, I guess, alpha brainwave, where you're a little lackadaisical, you're not so sharp and not so focused. And when somebody asks you, "So, how are you doing? What's going on?" You're like, "I don't know." Where you feel like you're already 2 drinks in and you haven't had any alcohol. You know, it's just like, I'm just here, just present, because there's nothing else to do. But it's not that you're just present, you're daydreaming. And often you'll daydream into what you are working on or focusing on, or even getting caught up into fantasy. If the world were a better place, how it would look. If you got all your wishes, what would that look like? And so you go into fantasy concepts, which are easy for intuitives like us. We are imaginative, creative people. And so a lot of even spirit messages come through in extremely creative ways. And it often feels very similar to like your imagination, like you're making it up, like it is a fantasy. You know, they're so similar, but they're completely different beasts. So when we get stuck in this fantasy, wishing, I wish it were like that. If it were like that. Um, and we stay there and we don't come back into checking where we are in the present moment and what's happening physically. That is a sign to do a mental health check in. And that can simply be questions of, you know, what needs are being met? What is not being met? What do you need to get out of this? What is this helping you with? Daydreams can absolutely help alleviate very aggressive frequencies when you're holding on to them and you don't know how to express them. And you're just kind of shaking and your head starts to wander and you begin to imagine. So you fall into daydream or fantasy, trying to play it out, put pieces together. So it can be helpful. But when you stay there, that's when it starts to pull you away from your day-to-day life, and that's when it can create a big imbalance. So everything has its healthy limits, you know, but when done to extremes, that's when it can create a lot of internal chaos. Wendy says, Wendy's world and my head was my safe escape. Right. Albina says, I have dreams. Yes. So we have that kind of daydreaming. Then we also have this, it's kind of like disassociation, but it is a disassociation from your energy, from your soul. And we see it in our eyes. So have you ever talked to somebody where you would say, "Oh, their eyes are bright. They're looking at me like they see me." They just kind of emit this connection just by the look alone. Now that's someone who's connected. They're behind their eyes, they're in their body, they're connected to their energy. They're running their energy, they're sharing it with you, the look, and they're receiving from you from the acknowledgement. It's very healthy balance. Sometimes when you look at people's eyes, it's like they're dead inside. There's no luster, there's no sheen, there's no glow. It's like there's an extra film over it. And they could be talking to you plainly. This is what I ate for breakfast today. This is where I'm going today. This is what is happening. And I feel good. How are you? I'm fine. Nice. Thank you so much. They can be polite, but you look at their eyes and there's no connection. There's a lackluster. This is a disconnect from the energetic body. This is like, let's get you in for some, I don't know, acupuncture. Let's get you in for some body work. Let's get you back into recognizing what energy you're moving and what emotions you're using and what words you're saying, because you have no clue. Often this person won't remember the exchange. They'll finish their breakfast and maybe they'll get hungry 2 hours later and they'll ask themselves, did I eat breakfast? What did I eat? And they wrestle, but it's not just a memory loss. They can't feel the food in their body. They don't know if they've been nourished. Or they have a conversation with you and you go back and you talk to them, you say, hey, do you remember what you told me earlier? And they go, oh no, it was something we were talking about. But again, it's not a mental thing. This is not like forgetting. This is more of we had a conversation. What was it about? Did I sound okay? It's they're missing parts of themselves, like it went dark. Not just mentally dark, talking physically, emotionally, everything dark. Kathy Claire Hayes says that there is this research that shows that we can stick our hand in very cold a bowl of water, but we can last longer doing that if someone else is holding your other hand. It helps me when I tend to isolate. Oh my gosh, that research, that's incredible. Amy says, oh, jeepers, that's like half my life. Disassociation, says Amora, is a very useful trauma response. It's how I survived a lot of experience. I have to remind myself of that instead of feeling like a failure for doing what my brain knows to do to survive. Exactly. There are healthy ways to use all of this. When it goes too far is when the body is trying to manage the trauma or shut down because it doesn't know how to accept or move forward, and that's when it can start to fall apart, in my opinion. I just want to remind everybody I am not a mental health care provider, and I'm neither certified nor trained. I am talking about my own personal experiences. I remember that Judy says everything about people, sometimes it freaks them out as they can't even remember. Yes. Yes. But I bring this one up, this kind of lackluster thing, because we've been indoctrinated, and this goes back to the first one, this kind of disassociation. It goes back to the first one of saying, I need to persevere, I need to push through this. We have taught so many people, accidentally too, to carry on. You can do this. It'll be all right. Go. You can do this. And push through the emotions rather than sitting and acknowledging what they are. So sometimes with our intuitive abilities, our psychic abilities, our highly sensitive parts will signal, but our training and our mental body goes, don't listen to that signal, keep moving, push forward. You don't want to slow down and look at that. It's not important. Like go, 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 go. And so you go, 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 go. And you've stepped over your sensitive body, your energetic abilities, giving you messages or information. So there is a fine line. Like I said, they all rest on each other, but they're completely separate beasts. Agreed. Keep calm and carry on. That's right, Marty. And Amora adds rest and gentleness. A bath and chocolate is a prescription for that. I love it. Yes, please. A little bit of salt in that bath, that's good for a day. So when you're out there having your life experiences and you notice something is different about you because you've just experienced or gone through something, by all means, use all of your, psychic abilities and get curious and ask why. But if you notice that you're avoiding that, I think the hard work here as sensitives for us is when we recognize that we want to avoid something. And I'm not talking about avoiding harm. I'm talking about avoiding a conversation, avoiding how we feel, avoiding taking care of ourselves, avoiding showing up, avoidance in that way. That when we are avoiding something, that is the very moment to lean into it. I didn't say jump into it. I didn't say jump over it. I didn't say push on it. Just lean into it and get curious. Come back to the childlike wonderment. Muster it up. Use that discipline. Muster up that curiosity and go, okay, why is this sitting here? Because I'm going to make a bold statement because it's a big opinion. I believe that when you are having psychic experiences and intuitive hits, gut instincts, clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, whatever it is for you, that there is a bigger reason behind it. That you are experiencing yourself as part of a larger community, energetic community, and that there is no mistake in it. But I don't feel like we need to immediately believe everything that's told to us. I firmly believe that we've come here as pretend individuals, like we're separate and isolated and stuff like that from others. Pretend to create and get to know how we would manage energy if we were given control, which is what we are given. We're given free will, and we can use our free will to, create change, to move energy, to boost it, to reduce it, to ignore it, or to engage with it. And so whenever you have your big hits, I'm going to implore you not to use your indoctrinated mind to step over it or push through it or ignore it because it might seem too weak or too emotional or too on point or too forward. To hold it and then choose whether to express it or not, to activate your free will to express it or not. And thank you, Lori Medeiros. Is that how I say your name? I don't know. Medeiros, for joining Lumalight. I am so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for being a part of our book club and for our healing sessions and meditations, which we'll be having a meditation release next week. I'm hoping you enjoy our community. I really appreciate it. Don't believe everything you think. A quote Amora put down by Erica Badu. Judy, that's what Maitland told you yesterday? Oh, wow. Maybe Maitland's sharing. Which part was that? That's very interesting. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and maybe taking something from this that you'll use in your own intuitive, path, or just privately for yourself, or when you're observing others as they're changing their behaviors or disassociating or having that lack of luster in their eyes, or you notice that they're kind of stuck in a daydream, that maybe you could be the sounding board for them as they're going through something large. Not all of us are aware of where we are when we're experiencing such big emotions. So I really appreciate you holding ground for that. Amy, thank you so much for the financial love. Judy says, pay attention to the messages and your intuition and give it energy. That was the message from Maitland. That's incredible. So similar. Oh, wonderful, Amora. I'll research her. Amy says, I needed to hear this today. Oh, it's wonderful when things align like that. Well, for our highest tier YouTube members, we're going to jump into a support group meeting in 10 minutes where you and I can talk about what you're experiencing and what you're going through. I would love to help you in any way possible. That is my passion. For everybody else, thank you so much for being here. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. And remember, this is not woo-woo. It's true. Take care, everybody. Bye.